The Chevy Chevette wasn't fast, flashy, or famous, but in tough times, it gave Americans what they needed most: simple, affordable transportation. For many, it was the first car, the first lesson, the first freedom. Today, it remains a quiet symbol of resilience, proof that even the smallest car can leave lasting memories. The Chevy Chevette was born in one of the toughest moments in American automotive history. In 1973, the oil embargo sent shockwaves across the country. Gas prices spiked, stations ran dry, and families found themselves waiting in long lines just to buy a few gallons of fuel. The big V8 sedans that had once defined American pride suddenly looked impractical. Drivers didn't want horsepower anymore, they wanted mileage. General Motors was under enormous pressure. Their first attempt at a compact, the Chevrolet Vega, had already failed with rust, engine troubles, and a shattered reputation. They needed a new small car, and they needed it fast. Instead of starting from scratch, GM turned to its international network. Here's the tip most people didn't know at the time. The Chevette wasn't designed in Detroit. It was built on GM's global T-Car platform, already proven in Europe, the UK, and Japan. In Germany, it was the Opel Kadett, in Britain, the Vauxhall Chevette, and in Japan, the Isuzu Gemini. GM simply adapted this design for the US market, saving time and money. By 1975, the Chevette arrived as Chevrolet's smallest car ever. Marketed as a new kind of American car, it was actually a global creation disguised in Chevrolet clothing. Born from the chaos of the oil crisis, the Chevette became not just another car, it became a lifeline for fuel-conscious Americans, proving that survival sometimes meant thinking small. Among the many versions of the Chevette, one of the most unusual was the scooter, introduced for the 1976 model year. It represented Chevrolet's boldest attempt to capture the budget-conscious buyer, offering a brand-new car at the lowest possible price. The scooter was designed for one purpose: affordability above all else. To achieve that, Chevrolet stripped away almost every comfort and convenience feature typically expected in even the most basic cars of the era. The scooter came without a rear seat, leaving only a flat cargo area in the back. Inside, there was no glove box door, no carpeting, and only the most minimal use of interior trim. The door panels were painted metal, and the seats were covered in the thinnest vinyl. Armrests, passenger-side sun visor, and other basic touches were absent. Even the bumpers were painted rather than chromed, further reducing costs. What the buyer received was essentially a no-frills, bare essentials hatchback priced under $3,000, one of the cheapest new cars available in America at the time. This made the scooter particularly attractive to students, first-time buyers, or anyone looking for the lowest cost entry into car ownership. The scooter may not have delivered comfort or luxury, but it represented a unique chapter in Chevrolet history, a time when a new car could still be purchased for the price of a used one, offering nothing more and nothing less than 4 wheels and basic mobility. In 1976, Chevrolet gave its no-frills Chevette a surprisingly nostalgic twist: the Chevette Woody. Inspired by the wood-paneled station wagons of the 1950s and 60s, this version used faux wood vinyl appliques with contrasting trim along the hatchback's sides and rear. The goal was to lend an image of warmth and family tradition to an economy car that was otherwise known for being cheap and practical. However, the concept didn't quite land. Buyers expecting elegance found the combination of a subcompact hatchback and fake wood trim awkward, even comical. Sales were extremely limited, and the Woody package quietly disappeared after just a short run. In the early 1980s, as gas prices continued to rise, Chevrolet offered something unusual: the diesel Chevyette. Under the hood sat a tiny 1.8-liter Isuzu-built diesel engine. On paper, it promised exactly what drivers wanted: outstanding fuel economy. Owners reported over 40 miles per gallon, an impressive number at a time when efficiency mattered more than performance. But there was a catch. The diesel Chevette was painfully slow. Reaching 60 miles per hour could take more than 21 seconds, slower than many trucks of the era. Car magazines joked that you didn't need a stopwatch to measure its acceleration. You needed a calendar. Still, for buyers facing long fuel lines and high costs, speed wasn't the priority. Saving money at the pump was. Here's the tip. While the diesel Chevette may be remembered for its sluggishness, it quietly introduced many Americans to the idea of ultra-efficient small cars, well before hybrids and modern fuel savers appeared. It showed that practicality could matter more than power, even in the United States. In the late 1970s, General Motors quietly explored an idea that seemed decades ahead of its time, an all-electric version of the Chevy Chevette, nicknamed the Electrovette. Developed during the second oil crisis, it was GM's attempt to imagine a future where gasoline might be scarce, and drivers needed a new kind of efficiency. The Electrovette was based on a standard Chevette hatchback but heavily modified. Engineers replaced the rear seat with a large bank of lead-acid batteries, which powered a direct current electric motor under the hood. Performance was modest. The car had a top speed of about 53 miles per hour and a usable range of 40 to 50 miles per charge, depending on driving conditions. Charging took several hours using household current. Although the Electrovette never advanced beyond prototype testing, it was an important milestone. It showed that GM was already experimenting with battery-powered vehicles long before hybrids and modern EVs became mainstream. The Chevy Chevette didn't believe in fancy electronics or push-button convenience. Starting it was a purely mechanical ritual. Drivers slid the metal ignition key into the steering column switch, turned it clockwise, and the small four-cylinder engine would crank to life with a rough but reliable growl. In cold weather, many models required using the manual choke, a small pull knob on the dashboard, to enrich the fuel mixture and help the engine start. Forgetting to adjust the choke often meant stalling or sputtering until the car warmed up. Automatic transmission versions had a neutral safety switch, so the engine would only start in park or neutral. Manual versions required pressing the clutch before turning the key, ensuring safety during startup. Once running, the Chevette's engine note was modest. No roar, no refinement, just the steady sound of economy motoring.